A long time ago, Miles Davis was playing at a concert and his trumpet broke. He didn't stop playing, he adapted. And in The Urban Farmer, Curtis talked about why this moment represents why some farmers fail and why others thrive. I'm Diego D.I. Egio, and today I'm talking about a important conversation that farmer Curtis Stone and I had back when we were doing The Urban Farmer about a mind shift change that farmers need to make. And this is particularly relevant to new farmers. And the idea is you need to think in terms of frameworks, not recipes. And this isn't abstract theory. This is really concrete, and it's the difference between surviving and failing as a farmer. So let's get into it. When we had that conversation, here's something that Curtis observed. There were really two types of farmers. Type 1 needed everything to go according to plan. If it didn't go perfect, it all broke down. This is the quarterback on the very first drive of the game when everything's scripted. After that, if it falls apart, they might not be Tom Brady. Then again, who is? But those farmers would panic. Their turnips got pests. They couldn't harvest them. All was lost. The world was ending. When markets shifted, they were stuck. The other type of farmer, they adapted. Same problem, different response.
If you only learn the way things should go because that's what you were told, like you must do this way, but you don't really understand the process of why, and you don't really understand the thought process to what led to that decision, then you won't really think for yourself as much because you'll just go, where's the sheet music? I don't know how to play this. Just give me a part to play.
Curtis divided his farm into two simple categories: high rotation beds for crops that grew in 60 days or less, and bi rotation beds for crops that were slower growing and that he turned over twice a season. That was the framework, not this bed gets turnip, this bed gets quick crops kind of flip floppy strategy. Here's why that mattered. When cabbage root maggots destroyed his turnips, he didn't lose 6 weeks of production. He simply replanted with radishes or arugula or lettuce. Same framework, different crop.
So a high rotation area is like a chord progression. And then, okay, we know the outcome is going to produce as much of these types of crops on this plot as we can. So we're going to get through that chord progression. And what exactly goes in there doesn't really matter. What's important is that you're producing as much as you can out of that plot.
Let's make this concrete. Traditional farmer has a very detailed plan. Bed 1 got carrots planted on March 1st. Bed 2 got turnips that were planted on March 15th. When something went wrong, the whole system broke because the whole year was planned out very rigidly. When you're a framework farmer like Curtis was, you had a high rotation section of your farm and it needed replanting every 30 days. He could choose from various crops depending on market demand, market need, what was working well. And that could be radishes, arugula, lettuce mix, baby turnips, or spinach. If one failed, you simply pick from another from the high rotation category. The system kept moving, it adapted.
There's going to be times where unexpected happens, and that's where you're going to have to improvise. But you have a framework that you can fall back on. I've got a variety of crops that I can plant here, and that's what I'm sticking with. I'm not just going to, in mid-season, decide to put tomatoes in this plot because that's going to change things too much. So I'm going to work within this framework, and that's the basis of how I operate my farm.
This seemed counterintuitive, but having fewer crops actually enabled Curtis to move faster. He learned this from music. When you limited yourself to certain notes, you made decisions quicker. Same with farming.
If you set up parameters to work within and you have less to work with, you can be more nimble. Instead of having so many possibilities and things to choose from, you can have a little less to choose from, and therefore you can make quick decisions. It's easier to work within those parameters.
On just 1/3 of an acre, Curtis could pivot in days, not months. That was his competitive advantage against larger farms. Think about this on the large macro scale. If you're a corn or soybean grower, if that crop fails early in the season, your whole season's lost. When you're a smaller farm and you have different crops rotating through, one crop can be terminated and another can plant in its place very quickly. That gives you this adaptive advantage that large farms don't have. But just because you can adapt doesn't mean things don't go wrong, because this is what nobody talks about. Curtis admitted once he ended up on his floor crying because everything was going wrong. His irrigation failed. Crops weren't germinating. He was working 100 hours a week trying to force a rigid plan to work, and he wasn't making much money on top of it.
It's horrible. I had times that I was so burnt out that I was like, not kidding you, in the fetal position in my underwear on the floor of my living room crying because I was so burnt out and so defeated and felt like nothing was going. Like I was producing too much of this and too little of this. And it was just like everything was going wrong all the time.
The framework approach wasn't just about efficiency, it was about mental survival. Here's how Curtis structured it. First, he categorized his growing spaces by rotation speed, not by specific crops, high rotation and birotation. Second, he listed which crops fit into each category. Quick crops were anything under 60 days, slow crops or birotation crops were anything over 60 days. Third, he tracked what actually sold. He used spreadsheets every Sunday night, reviewing last week and planning the upcoming week.
It's not necessarily having a script that I follow day in and day out. I've got a framework that I understand and I know what works within that framework, and that becomes the basis of where I go.
This wasn't about being disorganized. Curtis tracked everything: what was planted, what sold, what failed. But instead of being locked into decisions made months ago, he could respond to what was actually happening in the moment.
The nice thing is the longer you've had customers, a lot of my chefs, I know their weekly usage better than they do, and I can predict what they're going to do. I can predict based on holidays coming up, what's most likely their week going to be like, what they're going to order the next week, so on and so forth. And on the production end, a similar thing. Looking back, okay, what did we plant last week? I can even look back at my previous year. Okay, what were we planting around this time?
Here are 3 takeaways we can learn from Curtis's experience. 1. Organize by crop categories, not specific crops. Quick rotation and slow rotation. That's your framework. 2. When something fails, and it will, replace it with something from the same crop category. Don't force the original plan. Adapt and roll with it. 3. Track and reflect weekly. The framework improves through feedback, not through rigid planning. If you're not paying attention to what is actually happening, you won't know how to plan for your actual future. Curtis went from working 100-hour weeks in burnout to working 10 to 20 hours while making 6 figures on just 1/3 of an acre. The difference wasn't working harder or having a better plan. It was learning to work within a framework that could bend without breaking.
It's not about making this totally static and definitive farm plan, because in my opinion, that's like sheet music. Here's a plan, follow this, but if something happens unexpected, what do? I can't even think because I don't know what to do. I don't have that sheet in front of me. I don't know what to do. And that's where you're going to have to improvise. It's okay. Here's a framework. So a high rotation area is like a chord progression, and that's what I'm sticking with.
That's all for this one. If you enjoyed it and you want to listen to the full episode that this short was based on, you can do so using the link below. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know in the comments below. Hit like, hit subscribe, do all the fun things that help these videos rise to the top. I always appreciate you watching, and I hope that until next time, you will be nice, be thankful, and do the work.